Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of the PWB Spotlight series. Today we have Anna, and she's in Berlin, Germany. And Anna, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got started in plants, and maybe what's behind you.
Hey guys, I'm Anna. I'm in Berlin, Germany right now. So I started with plants years ago and then Corona came. So like everyone else, I was in lockdown and then you need to make your home a little more cozy. So I started getting more plants and more plants. And then they got rarer and rarer. At some point I started exchanging them. And then I had so many plants that I could sell them already. And that's how the business started. Then it got bigger and bigger. And now I'm selling worldwide, actually mostly to the US.
Wow. So when did you start selling plants to other countries?
To other countries, like, I don't know, maybe a year ago. So when this lockdown got, at least in Europe, the lockdown got really bad. Yeah, that was like pretty much a year ago, November last year. And then a couple of months before I started selling Germany. And selling to other countries is really easy when you're in Germany because we have the European Union, so we don't have borders here. It's basically one big state. So that's why it's so easy to exchange plants and get them from other European countries.
And outside of Europe, it's a little bit more challenging. Is that what it is?
It is, because you have to get the phyto certificate. But it's actually, once you figure it out, it's not that big of a deal. It's the department in Berlin is really small. I think it's only 5 people and it's one person responsible for your business. So you know them like personally. It sounds really challenging at first, but once you know the people, it's actually quite easy here.
Got it. And what have been some of the challenges of selling internationally other than the phyto?
I think right now the biggest challenge is tissue culture, actually, because a lot of plants that I have, which I've grown over months and put effort in it, they started to create them artificially through tissue culture and the prices sank. And you cannot compare tissue culture for most of the plants because the genetics is just different. Maybe you don't have irrigation at all, or the white is not white, but like white green or something. But then the prices for all the sellers that sold the real plants, they had to adapt, so they sunk. And I think that's the biggest challenge right now.
So does it sound like the consumers, do you think they hold that distinction? Like when they look at a plant, if
I
they
think so.
see that as tissue cultured, like, do you think they'll pay less for it, or what do you think?
Well, I know they pay less for it. Like, for example, the Syngonium milk confetti. Last year in Europe, it used to be like 400 euros a piece. And then they started to do tissue culture, started selling it from the Netherlands, and the price sank to 20 euros from 400 to 20. But then again, I mean, for some plants like Pink Princess or so, it doesn't make a difference. But for variegated plants, it does, because you have the little babies that are from a variegated mother. But if you have bad luck, you don't have any variegation. And then with milk confetti, well, the white is not so white anymore. It's like greenish white. So with most of the plants, you do see a difference, but it's just cheaper. And then people get it and they're like, well, I have this plant, but it's not as beautiful as homegrown, basically.
Right. So the naturally grown will look better, but most people, like, they'll accept the tissue cultured one and pay the lower amount, and that's sort of the challenge there.
Yes, I think there is, like, if you look at the Facebook groups, there is a huge protest going on against tissue culture because for quite a couple of plants, you do see the difference. So people don't want to get them anymore. Good for us, for people who really put effort in growing it.
So tell me about that. It's a protest, I guess. Who is it a protest against? And, is it?
I think tissue
tell me about that.
Coming from Asia, like from laboratories there. And then, at some points, all the plants go to the Netherlands, and then that gets spread out in the European Union really easily. It's mostly obviously the sellers protesting, but it's also the consumers, because the quality of the plant for a lot of plant is different. Not for all of them, but there is a difference.
So it's sort of the protest against the mass production of the plants and then kind of lowering the overall quality just for the sake of being able to mass produce it, really.
Yes, because some plants are really, you know, they grow really slow, like one leaf in 2 months. So you spend a lot of time till you have a cutting. You spend a lot of light, a lot of water, a lot of energy for the heat mat, and also time for watering the plants and taking care of them. And then there is tissue culture, and it just, you know, your whole calculation doesn't make sense anymore.
That seems really challenging. And you know, what can you do in light of that? You know, work with, you know, companies like us who can help open up sales channels, but like, what does the average seller, you know, what's the response to that change in the market from what you've seen, or what have you tried to do?
This, you know, that I feel like there was a huge like boom, and everyone's like, oh, plants are so cheap now, but now people start realizing that they look differently, and they have different patterns. The variegation is different. The quality is just lower for some plants. Also, you know, I think the big thing with the plant collectors is that the plant is rare, but plants aren't rare anymore if you produce them in mass, like in tissue culture.
Do you think that there are still those people out there that will pay more for the non-tissue culture version of it?
I know them because they're my consumers. So obviously if somebody still buys the plant from me, which exists in tissue culture, then yes. Like I can actually show you an example. Hold on, how do I do this without showing you the entire mess behind me? So this is the naturally grown Belitae variegata. And then, can I put it on the ceiling, or like, because—
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
Hold on, I'll get you a tissue cultured one and you'll see the difference. So I made an experiment because everyone was buying it, and I thought I'll try too. So you see the pattern here. Hold on, where is it? And then you see this. Can you see it with the light? This is tissue culture.
Okay.
Where's the camera? There is no pattern at all there. And it's from like a variegated mother. So it's
and where
ridiculous.
Did you buy that?
In Asia. I ordered it because everyone was doing it. So I was like, well, maybe, I don't know, if everyone's doing it, maybe it's good, but it's not. It's really—
a lot of the times the things that everybody is doing, you know, only works for so long, right?
Yeah. So, you know, this one is really beautiful with— can you see it? Yes, it's yellow, and this one is like greener. Can you see it? Like this.
It's just a better version of the plant. Is that kind of what's going on? The
other one is just
always
plain
better.
green. I mean, it's also with tissue culture, it's a lot of luck. So you can be lucky and then you have a variegation, but then not necessarily, because it's taken from a small piece of the plant. So you don't have the amount of genetics that you have in a cutting.
Got it. That's interesting. Because I would think that the seller is responsible for just clearly stating if there's going to be variegation in it, but it's like buyers.
You cannot do that. No, the sellers actually always say that there is no guarantee of variegation. You show the mother and that's it. They actually always say that there is no guarantee.
That is interesting. Yeah, it sounds like there's a challenge out there for kind of the whole market of plants that are now being mass produced and trying to find buyers for them. Seems like a moving target, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you you know, are on board with the listing of the inventory on the platform, and I think we're going to be doing a lot of work trying to find buyers for your inventory. And
sounds good.
Anna's inventory is going to be listed on Plants Without Borders. I believe it's already up, but yeah, there's a ton of plants there, and some of them are rare and ultra rare. And we're going to be sharing that with a couple of groups here in the United States. And if anyone has any questions or wants to like see a video or even video conference with you, would you be open to that?
Yes, sure.
Sure, got it. Okay, well, is there anything else you'd like people in the United States or anywhere in the world really to know about your plants?
We put a lot of effort into the plants. Like we're not as big as a shop as maybe Indonesian shops or shops from Thailand, but we specify on really rare plants, the rarest you can get in the European Union. And we have a huge market here, so good chance you find here something you don't find in a bigger store.
The rarest you can get. Well, I'm sure people would like that. So thank you for taking some time out of your day. I know it's late over there. This episode will be uploaded on YouTube and we're going to be sharing it everywhere.
Perfect.
So yeah, have a great rest of your day. And
thank you. You too.
Catch up with you later. Thank you.
Bye.